Alan Schimmel of DevOps.com here again at the DevOps Enterprise, and I'm joined by my two friends, Andrew and Andrew. Andrew Phillips of Zibia Labs and Andrew Storm of New Context. Guys, welcome.
Thanks, Alan.
So, Storms and I know each other for many years in the security business, the security world. It's not a business.
It's a small world.
It's a small world. And we actually were talking with Andrew Phillips outside, and Andrew asked the provocative question of, well, how has DevOps affected security? And that set off about a half hour worth of back and forth that I thought we'd try to capture a little bit here of today. So, Andrew Storms, why don't you start with, how do you think DevOps has influenced security?
Let's start from the negative side, because it's always fun in the security world to go from the FUD to the something good, right? DevOps has really enabled organizations to move things faster, more quickly to the customer, right? And so there's this general fear that the faster you move, the less secure things are. And being a security practitioner for so many years, I understand there's that fear with that. But the upside here is that with DevOps, it also brings a whole new set of tools, and specifically around automation, where you can actually begin to automate the security tests throughout the entire development lifecycle, the SDLC, from pre-production all the way to production. The other thing I wanted to say, we were talking about this earlier, is DevOps also opened the door for a cultural change, right? We brought together dev teams and the ops teams, but we still have the security team out there in left field still vying for space to be heard, for budget and so forth. And so now there's this seat at the table that they themselves can take advantage of this idea of the cultural change of DevOps and be part of the whole community as well as everybody else.
I don't know if it was left field or the bleachers. But in any event, Andrew Phillips, in Zibia and your experience in dealing with enterprises who are adopting continuous delivery and DevOps, are you seeing security with a seat at the table? Are they more involved?
Yeah, I think it's part of what we try to do is to broaden that context. I mean, one of the funniest meetings we always have with customers is when we start to plan out what it is that we're going to do, and then we ask them to invite all these people, and you can sort of see in that meeting, in some cases, it's seemingly the first time that all these people have ever been in a room together, which is a little bit shocking at the same time. QA, operations people, development managers, security people, network people, and you're like, we never speak to each other, which is, I mean, it's great that this opens the door, as Storms was saying, to this discussion, but of course you would want that to happen a lot earlier. I think one of the things that we obviously try to encourage is, from our perspective, security and quality and all these abilities that reflect or that are important about software need to be part of your decision-making process from the beginning. It's not something you can slap on at the end. It's something you have to design into the product, and it's not free. Making more secure software probably takes more thinking, takes longer, especially, if you want to engineer it in properly, but it's a trade-off that you have to think about, and it's not something you could do 5 minutes before the end. Oh my God, there's 10,000 0 days that we found, now let's just pretend that they're not there. That doesn't help. And this is an opportunity to think about it from the start.
Absolutely. Guys, what do you think about the DevOps Enterprise Summit and any security emphasis or focus?
It's nice to continue to see more and more people speaking security. Just sitting down at a table, say, hey, you're interested in talking about security. Security wasn't part of DevOps in the early days, right? It's something that's growing larger. There's more people interested in it. It's becoming more a requirement. Certainly with DevOps Enterprise, it's nice to see the larger organizations, the speakers here these days talking about security within their businesses and what they're doing. And it's just not about getting code faster. It's also getting code faster, more securely out there.
I agree. I think part of that is the sort of encompassing nature of DevOps, right? I think DevOps, almost by definition, seeks to be inclusive rather than exclusive. And I think that's why security has found sort of a ready audience. As a matter of fact, my experience, and I come from the security world as does Storms, my experience is that it's the security community who doesn't necessarily openly embrace new trends, new ways of doing things like DevOps. And the DevOps people are saying, hey, come join us, make this better. And security people, of course, are, beware of Trojans, right? And Greeks-bearing gifts and everything else that we're afraid of and paranoid about.
I think you really hit the mark, right? And that was actually one of the talks that I back at RSA earlier this year. That was my point exactly. I was speaking to the security practitioners, and I said, you need to wake up. These people in DevOps have it. They figured it out. They're inviting you in. They have the tools. They know what to do, but you need to be part of that conversation. You need to be at the table, and you need to join in, right? And we can no longer be the 10,000 whatever gorilla behind the curtain. Take your Wizard of Oz, take your gorilla in the corner, whatever analogy you want, right? We can't.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It has never worked. The organizations where it works is where they come together, they understand security is part of the business.
Inclusive.
Yes.
Inclusive is the key. And I think on that note, we'll probably wrap it up. Andrew Phillips, Zibia Labs, thank you for joining us. Andrew Storms, New Context.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Thank you.